All right. Hello, everyone. So I am here I'm Stacy Feil, President-elect of ICF Heartland, and I'm here with Coach Barbara Luther. Thank you, Barbara, for being with me today.
Happy to be here.
We are going to talk a little bit about your coaching journey and what you do as a coach. You are a master certified coach with ICF. Tell us a little bit about what that means.
A master certified coach means you've been around a long time. You've coached at least 2,500 hours, gone through testing, obviously, and certification. That's mainly, it's the highest level of certification that ICF offers. And until just this last few months, really, there's not even been 1,000 of us in the world. Now they're starting to have some more, but we're kind of a rare breed yet.
So I'm curious, what was that process like for you getting to that level?
Well, see, I did this back in 97, 98, somewhere in there. It was very early at that time. So at that time, we didn't do recordings. We had to do live. So we did a live assessment with 2 assessors, and we already had to submit, of course, our hours and our training, all of that. So it was just 1 live session then instead of 2 that they do today. And today it's 2 recordings plus transcripts. So it's changed. It's gotten better in that respect. Yeah.
Okay. So what made you decide to become a coach in the first place?
I was doing consulting work, and I really wanted to see more directly that I was making a difference to people. It was, I was doing work and I knew it was helping people, but I didn't get to feel it or see it. And so I really wanted that opportunity.
So coaching, as opposed to consulting, allowed you to experience the impact that you were having on people.
Yes. Yeah. More directly, one-on-one. Yeah. Felt great.
Yeah. So what made you choose ICF? What made you choose to go down the ICF path?
Well, it was the only thing in town at that time. Really, I mean, this is 25 years ago, and this is ICF's 25th year. So I had been trained at Coach U and Corporate Coach U, and they supported ICF. So I went to the very first ICF conference back in '96. And it was just, everything was coming together then. It was our professional body. We were just starting to have competencies and certification and accreditation. So it just made sense. I've always believed in being part of my professional organization, whatever profession. I think that's important to support.
Yeah. And so how have you seen that professionalism within the coaching industry change?
Well, it's certainly changed because we've gotten better with our competencies. And of course, recently they've upgraded the competencies. And I think that's been good. But at first, when I was trained, we didn't have competencies. So we were kind of learning as we went to see, okay, so what is coaching? What isn't? How do we distinguish it from various professions? And I think it's gotten so much better at distinguishing that, being very clear, but also opening the field to all kinds of coaching. I think at first it was life coaching and business or executive coaching, and that was kind of it. And now it really encompasses so many different kinds of coaching, which I think is great. It's really fun. And understanding too that we can use coaching skills outside of being a coach. And I think that's really been very impactful in the corporate world, from what I can tell.
So a couple things there I want to follow up on. First, this idea that a person doesn't have to be a coach, but in title to coach and to practice and use skills of coaching. So you also mentioned the different types of coaching that exists out there. You are an ADHD coach. Tell us what that means.
Well, it means that I work with folks who have been diagnosed or at least believe they have ADHD. They're dealing with that unique brain wiring. And my job as an ADD coach is to help them actually learn about how their unique brain works, because it's not broken, it's just different. And so helping them learn oh, this is the way my brain works, so I need to organize, I need to plan these ways, and be able to accept that instead of, oh, I should do it like everybody else. So that's a big part of it. Is I work with adults too, and so many of them come in having tried to be normal for so long that their self-esteem is so bad. So I'm teaching really a lot of self-compassion, self-kindness, self-appreciation, helping them remember all the great things they've done that they've kind of forgotten. So I'm educating a little bit as part of the coaching, but always at point of need. That's the way I look at educating, because they're not there to learn ADD completely. They're there to learn their particular brain. And that's applicable when it's applicable, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But most of them don't know much about their ADHD. Too many times they've been diagnosed and sent out with medication, and that's it. And so we're a good part of the support team between doctors sometimes and therapists and all these different folks around an ADD. We're the one that kind of can help them understand all that and use it and learn to advocate for themselves, even learn how to share with the doctor what's going on for them to get a good diagnosis and make sure their medications are working if they're going that route.
So you really do a lot with your clients.
Yes.
So tell me about that fine line between educating and cheerleading for them and the coaching.
Yeah. They come so often, and one of the first things they'll say to me is, I want to live up to my potential, which is always heartbreaking to me that they feel that. They feel that gap. So my job is to reflect back a lot. Okay, this is how it feels. I'm always asking questions. What does this feel like? What are you saying to yourself? What do you think your brain is doing? Let's kind of learn that. So it's in the moment, kind of, I'm hearing this, you're showing up like this. Do you want to understand why that's happening? Let's talk about it a minute or two. And then it's back into the coaching. So now that you understand what your brain is doing, what do you want to do? Okay, how do you want to move forward? And I do a lot of, like you said, cheerleading toward, look at what you've just done. Let's celebrate this. How are you going to remember it? How are you going to prompt to be sure that you're going to follow through with what you want to follow through on? Because they don't know, they don't have good memory necessarily, and they don't know that they need to write things down and prompt themselves so much more than a general coach would do with a regular life coaching client.
So for the ADHD side of it, then you needed a significant amount of education and experience, outside of coaching. Like your expertise is ADHD.
Yes. Yeah. I was trained as a general life coach.
Okay.
And I taught general life coaching for 10, 20 years. I'm still teaching coaching. But yes, I went to a specific training program for ADHD. And spent about a year and a half in that training. And I left that training thinking I understood ADHD, and I didn't. It's something you really have to learn. There's very few places to go where you can really learn ADHD. You can read all the books and you can intellectually say, oh, this is what ADD is, but you don't know how to see it and how to hear it from what your clients are saying, because they don't know how their brain is working differently than somebody else's. We all think we're normal, right? And we're not. So it really has been an ongoing education for me to kind of learn, oh yeah, that's what I'm hearing. It's informed how I take in the client. It informs my questions because I can suspect what I might be hearing. So I can ask more specifically, what's going on in your body? Again, what are you saying? What does it feel like? And understanding how strong the emotions are. So yeah, I still feel like I'm learning ADHD, and I've been doing it a long time, so I do know it, but there's still more to learn. It's exciting.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because people's brains are always changing, and we're always learning more about the brain and the functions of our body. And so I think that really touches on something that's important too. As coaches, we're lifelong learners.
Oh yes,
And
we have to be.
We have to be.
Yeah. not just in coaching for us, but also in the ADHD. Research around ADHD is exploding in so many different directions. So trying to keep up with that is its own challenge.
Right, right.
But yeah.
Yeah. So, what I'm hearing from you is that your clients can really trust that you are up on the latest research, that they are in good hands when they partner with you, because not only do you have the coaching skill, the mastered coaching skills, you also have the expertise that can really give them the tools that they need for their specific issues.
Yeah. I'm director of training at the ADD Coach Academy. And so I train ADD coaches now because there's so much need out there. And so I am always learning so that I can train, so I can help my students become the best coaches they can be. Because too often, and this is why we started a separate sister organization to ICF. We have a professional association of ADHD coaches because so many ADDers would come to me and say, I don't know if I'm coachable because a previous coach fired me. And I just want to die when I hear that, because that's the thing. When an ADD client comes to us and I can ask a few questions, they feel heard, sometimes for the very first time.
Wow, that's powerful.
Typically. Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
I've asked questions of, I asked questions of a mother that called me a while back, and I just asked a couple questions. She burst into tears. Nobody's ever asked me that, she said. And she said, have you been living with us? I get that a lot because I do know what to ask. I do know what I'm hearing. I do know the patterns, and I have great compassion for that. And they're not getting that out there. The parents are getting a lot of judgment and stigma, as well as the ADDers themselves. So there's so much need for what we do. And I truly believe if you don't truly understand ADHD, you should not be working with an ADDer. You can hurt them, because I've received too many of them who've been hurt. And that really bothers me.
So what would you say to someone out there who's struggling with ADHD, doesn't know what to do, just feels like they're at the end of their rope, and doesn't know what to do? What would you say to them in their hesitation to work with a coach?
Be careful to choose somebody who's truly been trained as an ADD coach, because anybody can call themselves an ADD coach. Okay, that's the scary part. That's why we have a professional association of ADHD coaches. So clients, check with that, see if you're working with a certified coach in ADHD that specializes in it, and really ask them what they know, what they understand, just really explore. But usually clients come, and if they just talk to you a bit, they'll know they're being heard or not. They really do. And if they feel like you hear them, they're so excited to work with you, to get somebody who does understand them. So try out a coach. It's much more than just life coaching, because you're helping them learn about their brains, learn about themselves, and really get their self-esteem back. Help them learn how great they are, how much they can do, the strengths that they kind of don't believe or trust. Those are the things they're going to get back that are so precious. It's not just, oh, I'll learn time management. Oh, I'll learn, to organize. It's, oh, I'm okay. I'm not broken. That's what they need so desperately. Even though they come for those other things, that's what I want them to get, is I want them to start learning some self-compassion and kindness and self-appreciation. So.
Yeah, and that's so interesting. I think as coaches, that's what we all aim for, is to have that impact at the deep, psychological level, where people feel they can relax and they can, feel like, what, I'm okay. And I
Yeah.
can do this and I'm all right and I'm enough. And yeah.
Exactly. It's just that it's a lot deeper because of the stigma out there
Mhm.
of a label, a diagnosis. The pain is deeper, and it's
Mhm.
not just the person that comes for coaching. It's the entire family that you see getting impacted,
Mm. Wow.
because everybody around an ADDer is impacted by that ADDer. Okay. So I have lots of people come and go, my family now, we're communicating, we're feeling good again when we were having this terrible conflict. And I hear spouses say, we're back to why we loved each other and why we got together. And it just makes such a difference. It's huge. So
Yeah.
it's not just one person you're touching, which
Mhm.
I think so many times, of course, they don't know to come for that, but that's what they're going to get so
Yeah.
often. It's really
So
rewarding.
if someone wanted to get in touch with you
Hmm.
in particular, how would they do that? And maybe also tell us how they can find that ADD Coaching Association.
Hmm. Sure. My email address is barbara@addca.com. ADDCA stands for ADD Coach Academy.com. So it's barbara@addca.com. And my phone number, 660, I have to look it up yet, I moved a while back, 425-6120. And the professional association is PAC, PAAC coaches.org. PACcoaches.org. So we do ascribe to ICF. Like I said, we're a sister organization, which I think is important to know. And we do our own testing of the ADHD knowledge plus the ADD coaching when we're doing certification there.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Barbara. I want to see if we can figure out how to do questions here.
Sure.
This is my first time doing a live stream on Facebook, so I'm
Me
not
too.
exactly
Me
sure
too.
how this works, and I don't see on this interface here anything popping up. So if there are questions out there, I apologize. I am not seeing them, so I'm not able to respond to them. So
If
I
they
guess,
have questions, they can always write to me, email
okay.
barbara@adga.com. I'm happy to always talk to them. If they really want to understand ADD, they do need to get some training. And the Academy, I think, is a great place. Obviously, I think it's good, but we try to teach the breadth and depth of ADHD, so you do know what you're hearing, and you do know the strategies that actually will work with ADDers. And last thing I would say is, if you suspect somebody's ADHD, um, they may feel frustrating to you as a client because if you don't understand the ADD. So the best, kindest thing you can do for them is refer them to an ADD coach or go get trained yourself. One of those two, but don't just try to work with them. I think that steps over an ethical boundary, quite frankly.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that. That's really important for coaches out there to hear that if you have a client that you genuinely see that they have a need that you're not able to meet,
Yeah.
reach out to someone who has expertise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I honestly think every coach probably has 30% of their practice or more ADDers because they're looking for help.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Okay. And so what would you say, my final question here, what would you say to coaches out there who may be intrigued by this ADD coaching? I did not know that there was a separate organization for it. So thank you. I've learned a lot here. What would you say to a coach that may be curious or wanting to look into getting some expertise?
If you've already trained as a coach, we're the biggest school that trains ADD coaches, but come and get the foundation of ADHD. Then you can incorporate it with what you already know. And I think you'll have a much better time than trying to get certified as an ADD coach, because they are testing to hear if you have what we call an ADD lens that you're listening through. And so training, if you've already got your coach training, adding the ADHD doesn't have to take that long, but it sure makes a huge difference.
Okay. And I would assume then likewise, if someone is already has ADHD training and education and wants to become a coach, they could also reach out.
Absolutely. We do
other-
that too.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of people think because they've lived with ADD themselves that makes them an ADD coach. Unfortunately, most of them, again, don't know their own ADD brain. So how can you help others when you don't even understand your own? So
Sure.
I have people come to the training who say, I've been working with ADDers for 15, 20 years. And I go, that's great. And they'll say, I don't need this first module. And I go, you're going to take it anyway because it's our model in training. But they come back at the end and say, oh my God, I thought I knew this. And I learned so much. And so I know what we do is valuable. We have doctors tell us how important it is. We even have sometimes doctors come through to learn because it's not trained well out there. It really is.
Right. Well, and you just touched on another important aspect of coaching and that is to never assume we know the answers, to never assume we really know what's going on in our client's head, that our job is to ask the questions and learn and be curious.
Yes. I tell clients that I've got plenty of strategies and tools and I know ADHD, but I don't know your ADHD until we start working together. So we're learning together all the time. I know the patterns. I understand the brain wiring, but every ADDer, like every human being, is unique. And so you really have to find out what's going on for them that they're procrastinating. What's going on for them that the time is such an issue, because it can be different things. It really can.
Yeah, and how wonderful. And that's, I mean, I can't really say it any better. That's what we do as coaches is that individual one-on-one. Let me get to know you and let's work with you. Yeah.
And ADDers are incredible. They're bright, they're funny, they're quick in so many ways. They're highly intuitive, which is nice. Authenticity is probably their highest value. It's just so essential for them. And if they don't get authenticity back, you've lost them. It's so important. Yeah, I think it's true for everybody, but ADDers feel everything much more strongly. There's an intensity to ADHD that people don't understand. And so that's another key piece, is to appreciate that intensity.
Right. Yeah. All right. Any final words, Barbara? We are at 20 minutes. And I promised it would be only 20 minutes.
It went fast.
Yes, it did.
Anybody who does want to know more, again, feel free to email me. I used to have coaches call and say, give me the essence of ADD in an hour. I can't do that. But I'm happy to help you find a good ADD coach. I'm happy to refer. I'm happy to help you to figure out if that's a specialty you'd like to add. I've been around a long time, so I like to support coaches in any way I can.
Yeah, well, wonderful. Thank you, Barbara. It's been a joy getting to know you a little bit here.
And just everybody, if you're listening to this and you haven't signed up with ICF Heartland, please do. It's fantastic. This is a great, great chapter. I'm really impressed with it because I've been in others in different places. So.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I was just going to say that. And also we are having, well, this is International Coaching Week. I did not mention that. That's the whole reason we're doing these
25 years. 25 years.
Oh, it's so exciting. So tomorrow we're going to have another interview with Dawn Booz. So I hope you'll all tune in for that. And if you want to learn more about ICF, ICF Coach Federation. I think it's coachfederation.org. Coachfederation.org. Right. And if you want to learn more about our chapter, our amazing ICF Heartland chapter, we are at icfheartland.org. So you can find other coaches just as amazing as Barbara.
Oh, plenty of them. You guys have a great, great chapter. We really do down there. I'm impressed with it.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Well, with that, we will sign off. And Barbara, I hope to see you again soon. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.